𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 Video app. All your favorite drama, history, science, news, and documentaries, all in one place. Watch your PBS station live or catch up on the shows you missed. Discover new favorites from PBS and locally produced shows from your station.
Get the PBS Video app now and stream the best of PBS at any PM, anytime, anywhere.
You're watching New England Public Media, WGBY Springfield.
The new masterpiece production of All Creatures Great and Small captures the warmth, wit and generosity of spirit that infuse James Herriot's stories. Join us for a behind-the-scenes look at this charming program in All Creatures Great and Small, Between the Pages.
Go behind the scenes of All Creatures Great and Small, August 15th.
Coming up, stories we're connecting you with tonight. A local stonemason brings the spirit of Tibet to Western Massachusetts.
During the Cultural Revolution in Tibet, monastery temples, most of them destroyed. I volunteered to build a temple back, and that I learned how to build stone walls.
We explore the impact that the creative arts can have on the incarcerated.
The man was holding the piece in his hands and crying. He was crying and saying, "I can't believe I did this."
And a local comic book artist turns his hand from turtles to tattoos.
Talbot's artwork has a cult-like following, and now that he's in the tattoo world, some of his fans are trying to procure his art in a much more permanent way.
Details on those stories and more up next on Connecting Point.
Support for Connecting Point is provided by our contributing viewers.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us for Connecting Point. I'm 𝗬𝗲𝗶𝗲𝗍 Sonam Lama was born in the countryside of Tibet during the time when the Cultural Revolution was raging in China, causing thousands of temples and monasteries to be destroyed. His dream as a young boy was to become a monk, but the rebuilding of these monasteries taught Sonam the skill of stonemasonry, and his life took a turn. He now calls Deerfield, Massachusetts his home, and producer Dave Fraser visited Sonam recently on the job site to bring us his story.
As you drive north on Route 5 in Deerfield, you may notice a stone structure on your left sitting in front of what looks like an old motel. This structure is a Tibetan stupa built by local stonemason Sonam Lama.
Tibetans believe that stupa has healing power, and also all kinds of elements and a lot of benefit, merit if you go around it and be nearby.
Lama created his stupa of stone under the guidance of a Buddhist teacher. It is topped with a spire, and the main mound sits on a stepped Goshen stone platform. One side features a brass plaque, and there are two urns that are kept filled with plants during the summer. Flying from the stupa are two long lines of Tibetan prayer flags, and buried inside are prayer books and relics. Lama has built other stupas before.
One is in Chicago we did, a little bit north of Chicago. And I did one for New York City for actor Richard Gere. And I also did in Vermont. So I done for other people, but finally I got a chance to do my own.
The stupa sits in front of a Tibetan plaza, a former motel that Lama has converted into a set of shops. There is also a bed and breakfast called the Tibetan Inn. When Lama was young, he had aspirations of becoming a monk, but the Cultural Revolution changed those plans, and he learned the skills of a stonemason.
You know, during the Cultural Revolution in Tibet, monastery temples basically, most of them destroyed. I volunteered to build a temple back, and that I learned how to build stone walls. Instead, I became a monk, ended up a stonemason.
In 1986, he left his native land and came to Western Mass. He started out in Shelburne Falls, looking for work building stone walls, walkways, and patios.
Put pictures, brochures, at the grocery store, like Costco's and Greenfields Market, and everywhere basically I can put it up. I put it up. Then people keep calling me, and that's how I became my own business started.
The stonework of Sonam Lama can be found around the valley, including several walls on the campus of Eaglebrook, a private boarding and day school in Deerfield. Using picks, shovels, and pry bars, Lama and his assistant sculpt each rock before sliding it into place, setting it on a bed of crushed stone.
It's a hard work, but when you get used to it, I don't mind hard work, especially when you finish the job, and owner be very happy, and I feel like I created something that beautiful. After I'm gone, I know the Stonewall will be here, so that's part of it that very satisfying and very good. And I was one of the fortunate immigrants, became own business and became successful, and always kept busy because it was very good.
Every Friday night, Connecting Point explores the creativity, culture, and community that make us Western New England. But it doesn't stop there. You can find us online anytime for exclusive features and content. July is National Park and Recreation Month, and in this week's digital exclusive, executive producer Tony Dunn heads to the northern Berkshires to climb the state's highest peak and uncover the history behind the creation of the Mount Greylock State Reservation.
Jeremiah cobbled together a 1,600-acre farm comprising most of the northern end of the mountain range, including the summit. In fact, to this day, we call one area along Notch Road Wilbur's Clearing. 400 acres of the summit that originally had been part of Jeremiah's large farm holdings were sold to a group of northern Berkshire businessmen who went under the name the Greylock Park Association.
Don't miss this digital exclusive, available online right now at nepm.org/connectingpoint. For over 35 years, Phyllis Kornfield has worked as an art instructor inside correctional facilities around the country in all levels of security, from county jail to death row. Her book, entitled Cellblock Visions, Prison Art in America, was inspired by her work with incarcerated men and women and features a collection of their artwork made behind bars. I spoke with Kornfield to learn how she became involved with teaching art in correctional institutions and to hear more about the impact that the creative arts can have on the incarcerated.
I'm talking about what I'm called true creativity, which means it's not the frontal lobe telling me what art should look like, or if I can do this, or if I can do that. It's work that comes from a very deep place in a person. The visual that have come to me over the years is this sort of fiery coil deep in every human being that humanity, all through history, people have been wanting and creating beauty and wanting to create beauty. Among people who are incarcerated, they have very low self-esteem. They have heard nothing but negativity about themselves. They've been traumatized. It has just kept that beautiful human capacity imprisoned. What I do is I don't reach in to pull it out. What I do is disappear all of the obstructions, and then bam, it's out. And that's what you see in all the artwork.
And I want to touch on that point of that natural human, creativity that we all have inside of us, because you've stated that unplugging is your primary function as an art teacher, and it kind of helps these artists realize that this is something that's within them. So what are your ways or techniques that you use for students that you have that might be hesitant to get them to begin creating art?
Well, first of all, the circumstances are, there are very strict rules in my class. One of them is they're not allowed to speak personally. A lot of people think that's horrible, but they talk about themselves and their lives and their crimes and their misery and all of that all the time. They're not allowed to speak it out loud in the art class. So immediately the ego is quieted and they're in a place of not knowing. They also are not permitted to express negativity. That's not about the art, but it's about their speech and even their physical posture. And we don't speak casually in art class. So immediately, the only thing there is to do is to create this art. For example, one man did a landscape, but he did it unsurely and quickly. I sent him back to spend more time on it. By the time he brought it in, it was quite beautiful. The man was holding the piece in his hands and crying. He was crying and saying, I can't believe I did this. I can't believe I did this. And that's purpose number 2, is for the people to realize, to learn a part of themselves that they never knew existed.
After spending over 35 years working with inmates, what do you think is important for people to know and understand about this population?
Well, I think people need to take a look at the whole system. James Gilligan is a psychiatrist. His job was to interview the most violent offenders in federal prisons. He told me he always gets the same answer to the same question, is why did you do it? And he didn't mean the childhood abuse and that kind of thing. He meant that moment. Why did you do it? They said, because I was disrespected. And the other quote from James Gilligan is that all violence is an attempt to replace shame with self-esteem. So I think people are beginning to understand that. I believe we realize that punishment stimulates violence. It doesn't help anything. I don't know where we got the idea in the first place in the early days that if you punish someone, they'll stop doing it, because it never worked.
One of the most popular comic book series of all time has roots that run deep right here in Western New England. For decades, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comics were produced out of Mirage Studios in Northampton, with its artists relocating to the area and making it home. Since Viacom purchased the rights to the Turtles in 2009, some have moved on to new ventures, including one who's keeping his art alive for anyone who wants to have it forever. Connecting Point's Ross Lipman takes us to East Hampton and the shop where he's gone from turtles to tattoos.
Moms don't like tattoos.
When I got my first one, I don't think she spoke a word to me for like 2 weeks.
Oh, that's funny.
Inside Oxbow Tattoo in East Hampton, you get a sense that the artists are inspired by similar work and collectively are on the same page.
Our shop's a little different from most shops, where we make all our decisions collectively.
As was the case when bringing in its newest artist.
When you first start tattooing, it's just
𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏.
seat of your pants, like terrifying,
ordeal, to be honest.
Eric's got quite a history as an illustrator. He was a professional artist that a lot of these tattoo artists look up to.
It's a weird thing to be telling people. I would tell people what I would do. I would say, I draw the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and they would just be like, what?
In 1984, Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird published the first issue of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic, eventually becoming a global phenomenon, generating an estimated $6 billion in merchandise revenue in its first 10 years.
One of the great things I think about the Turtles, I think you touched on a little bit, was the fact that it wasn't like normal comic books, and I think people still say that to me when I'm at conventions. You could see the work. It maybe wasn't as polished as some of the mainstream comics, but it had that charm that it was like a do-it-yourself kind of DIY thing where we were just kind of learning as we were going. Do you have anything tomorrow at 3?
Now Talbot, who no longer works on the Turtles comics, is trying his hand at a new canvas.
Tattooing's always kind of been there as something I've thought about doing. I've had offers From different people, I think my art relates. I mean, I draw a lot of skulls, I draw a lot of creatures, I draw a lot of stuff that kind of relates to tattoos.
It's kind of like an electrician deciding to be a plumber. You're in the trades, but it's not the same job.
Talbot's artwork has a cult-like following, and now that he's in the tattoo world, some of his fans are trying to procure his art in a much more permanent way. Matt Miller is here getting one of Talbot's signature Reaper tattoos. Is this your first tattoo that you've gotten done by Eric?
This would be my third.
Your third?
I usually just like to go in to artists, I check out their stuff, and if I really like it, I just tell them to do their thing. And that way I think I'm like getting a better product out of it.
Tattooing is also physically demanding.
But the more tattoos you do, the more comfortable you get with what to expect.
And for Talbot, whose 30 years working on the turtles is not just a reflection of his experience, but also his age, makes his switch to the tattoo world all the more unique.
This is the first story like this I've ever heard of. I've heard of other people transitioning into tattooing from the trades at a later age, but as far as this is the first story of its kind that I'm aware of.
And then I told like 1 million people that I was getting tattooed by the Ninja Turtle guy. So I thought it was dope.
It was very healthy for me to get outside my comfort zone and stay outside my comfort zone, and that's actually one of the things I love about tattooing, is that I've got a place to go every day and there's people around me.
When you sit down and do a drawing for
people to see, you're nervous and you choke up and you don't grow.
And the only way to grow is make mistakes, in my opinion. And if you're not worried about making mistakes, you're going to make them, you know?
Perhaps tattooing was in the cards for Talbot all along. After all,
okay.
What are the odds?
So as I started doing these interviews, at some point my wife mentioned this character that I had designed, and she consequently got me these for Christmas. And what they are is this character called Tattoo that I designed for the Ninja Turtles, and his name is actually Tattoo. And I kind of forgot about this guy. So it's funny that tattooing has kind of just been there all along.
Heroes in a half shell, turtle power.
If you've driven down Main Street in Holyoke recently, you may have noticed some new decor. The placekeeping project entitled 𝗀𝘀𝘀 de Holyoke, or the Heart of Holyoke, has begun unveiling new public artwork and murals created by local artists that reflect the Puerto Rican and Latinx culture of the surrounding neighborhoods. I spoke with Cynthia Espinosa, Senior Project Manager of Planning and Economic Development for the City of Holyoke, along with local artists 𝗀𝘀𝘀 𝗀𝗏𝘀 and 𝗀𝗏𝘀 𝗀𝘀𝘀, to hear more about the origins of the project and how they hope others will be inspired by it.
From 2017 and 2018, there was a lot of community engagement to find out what makes a neighborhood Puerto Rican, and that being arts, culture, celebration, festivals, and history, really making it a Puerto Rican and Latinx community. So from there, 𝗀𝘀𝘀, the Heart of 𝗀𝘀 really came out, that you're really showing the heart of God.
And what is the goal and vision behind this project?
The goal is to really highlight the community that has been here in Holyoke for many years. Also make Main Street what it is, sort of like what has been, really highlight the piece, bring it more economic development pieces, and highlight the community and businesses that are here, but also celebrate what's already happening in our Main Street.
And speaking of the crowdfunding campaign to support this project, you received over $25,000, which exceeded the original goal of $20,000. How did it feel to see the community really show up and endorse this project?
Yeah, I think it was incredible. It was a great feeling to go beyond our goal. And what was even beautiful, that the grant was matched. So not only did we receive $25,000, we also received an extra $20,000 to make the art installations happen.
So this spring, the project was really able to move forward and began unveiling some of the featured artwork on Main Street. How were all the artists chosen for this project?
The goal was to do workshops and kind of be very engaging with our community to select the artist. So we did that version virtually in the best way we could. We know it was still limiting. And we had artists apply online, and we also give the option and the person drop off and all that. And from there, we had our advisory committee select local artists based on their application.
𝗪𝘀𝘁, you are a self-taught colorblind artist who has been part of several community art projects in Springfield, including Fresh Paint and the Black Lives Matter mural. How did your journey with art begin, and why has it been important for you to be so involved in community art making projects?
I've been drawing since birth and stuck to it more or less, just drawing Mickey Mouse pictures and things like that, cartoons, comics. And then the graffiti era came, breakdancing, and of course I was entrenched in that. But that was not my career. My career was in dentistry. So it had nothing to do with art. It was in 2015 that I suffered a traumatic brain injury. And that's when I really dedicated myself to the art.
How did you get involved with the Corazón de Holyoke project? How did you hear about it, and what interested you in it?
It's fascinating because it gives the opportunity to, one, you have a voice, but you also get to decorate a city. You get to express yourself visually in these cities. And my big thing is to make the community a part of it by helping me paint some of these things.
Now, your piece for this project is titled Transición de las Antepasadas, or Transition of the Ancestors. Explain to me what this artwork is and what inspired it.
It was Puerto Rico themed, but I wanted it to be more historical timeline than your basic stars. So I went to work, did research, like 50 hours of research in how the project is going to go. I started with the pre-Columbus era with the Taino Indians and the natives. As time goes on, I transitioned to New York with Rita Moreno, and she's one of the few that have won a Grammy, an Emmy, Oscar, a Tony Award. So she's really put it out there for us. Underneath her, I put La Gorda de Oro, who Milta Silva, I always forget her name, but she was a ejecutor, a producer in Puerto Rico and a very famous television figure. And as we go along, I added Roberto Clemente, the baseball pioneer for our race. He was an all-star. After that, I put Hector Lavoe. He was a pioneer for the salsa and what is called the 𝗀𝘁cie frito circuit. And after him, I put Pedro Campo Albizu. In the 20s, he graduated from Harvard, but he was also a pioneer and a revolutionary, a lawyer for our culture in the United States. And he spoke 6 languages. I had to add him to show a little combination of we're not all just music, we're a little bit of everything.
And 𝗀𝘀𝗄, you are also a self-taught artist and multimedia art activist with a science background. In your bio, it states that with an Afro-queer, futurist, and disability justice lens, you ask whose stories aren't being told. Why do you approach your artwork through that lens, and how has this influenced your piece for this project titled 𝗦𝘁cie 𝗿𝗄𝘀?
So I chose that lens because of my own identities, first of all. I mean, it begins with sort of both myself, and when I say I, it's this person, but also my ancestors, which is part, and that sort of perspective is part of what drew me to this project, honoring the ancestors. And it's just very important to me to bring those voices forward, right? And to do so intentionally and consistently, just like all the time, not like here's a day, here's a month, whatever, but like just this is all the time. And so to have a public art project where you get to see all these beautiful faces and artwork, you know, and our work and voices that are woven throughout those pieces on a regular basis, like that's just power right there.
In addition to yours and Frankie's artwork, what other pieces of art can we expect to see along Main Street?
So this part of 𝗬𝗏𝗍𝗔 and Frankie's work was sort of like what we call the phase 2 of installation. We're working on phase 3, which is we're looking to light up and install artwork on 4 vintage towers that are really pretty much like the gateway to Main Street. And our goal is to make it a statewide recognized cultural district there. It's specifically Puerto Rican cultural district because we have about 95% of our Latinos, or Latinx, sorry, residents in Holyoke identify as Puerto Rican. And we also want to highlight the other Latinx in our inner city. So this is a very exciting project. It definitely, we definitely can see it from years to come, and it will change in different ways. It can be from artwork to events to new businesses coming in. So we're really excited and open to seeing how it looks. You know, we definitely have a plan of where to install what, but it's definitely can be changed and adjusted to the needs of the community.
That does it for Connecting Point for July 16th, 2021. Remember, you can always find the stories that you saw tonight, as well as exclusive features, digital-only content, and more online anytime at nepm.org/connectingpoint. And please join us again next Friday night at 6, right here on New England Public Media, for more stories of the creativity, culture, and community that make us Western New England. I'm 𝗦𝗍𝗵𝘆𝗹𝗶𝘀. Thanks for watching and have a great evening.
Support for Connecting Point is provided by our contributing viewers.
Music photography is like the music itself. It's part of our cultural heritage.
What I do is a form of music. It's just music for the eyes.
Best job in the world.
I'm around